Be quiet so they can hear you now.
Okay, so if you can please mute your mic, but if you have any questions during the session, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and speak up. I cannot see the chat if I'm sharing my screen. I try to go back to this tab often, but I don't always get a chance to look at the chat throughout. So if you have a question while I'm going through something, you can go ahead and do that. So here's the forms. So you can go ahead and sign in while we're waiting for everybody. And we'll start here in just a minute. If you just joining, I went ahead and put the sign-in sheet into the chat. And here it is again. And I'll put it in again about halfway through in case any of you missed the sign-in sheet. It's there. But I'm going to go ahead, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. We're going to head on over to Google Calendar. All right, so this is my calendar, and this is what it looks like to me. Yours may look a little bit different. Yours might have different colors set up, different events, of course, set up. And this is where I go to create an event, or I may go straight to the time where I want to start something. So let's say I want to fill in this empty spot right here. I simply click on it and I add the title up here. If it's something I usually don't use out of office, I don't find it necessary to put out of office events or put that in place. I do use reminders, tasks, and appointment slots. So as you can see right here, these are appointment slots. This one, if it's an event, it's going to look something like this, like I have training over here. A reminder, this is a reminder. It's going to come up looking like this one. Appointment slots have this little box on them, and when those are clicked on, I can click on this part and I can share this with all of you, and you can share this with your parents, things like that. So, or your students. And if you want them to be able to contact you, and if you have an open time for them to get a hold of you, they can click on a time, and that is how they would create an event or an appointment with you. So you would share this link with them up here. And we'll go back to this one. So I'm creating just a regular event. I come in here and I can put the title, and I'm just going to put demo. This right here tells me the time. If I want to set maybe a shorter time, I can click on it. And let's say I only want it to go for 30 minutes, I can do that. And I can say I want it to repeat every Thursday. I can also do that right from here. If I want to add guests, I can do that from here. And this find a time is pretty neat because if I add other um, guests to this time, I can see what available times they have by using this find a time. So if I say Stephen in here, it's going to give me his times. So I can see that he does have this time available. And I'll go ahead and X him out. If I say Miss Mandy Morgan, she is busy, so I cannot get her at that 3:30 time. So different people have different times they're available. Using that find a time, I can see if they have that time space available. And here's where we can add that conferencing for Meet and Zoom. We are using Google Meet for our conferences. I can add a location, and of course on Wednesdays it's going to have to be Google Meets, but you can also add your classroom number and building. And of course descriptions and attachments can be added right here. So this is where you can say is a meeting about calendar. And maybe I want to add an attachment, then I can add the link. Again, this link can be something from my Google Drive, so it could be slides, a doc, a sheets, it can be a URL to a website. Anything that I want to share with my guests, I can put it right in here and they'll receive that when I send this out. And I can go to more options. And this right here, if I don't want it on my calendar, let's say I want this to be my digital learning coach calendar so that people know that that is for digital learning, I can put that, I can label it as that one. I have my other calendars, such as my Google Classroom calendars. I can do that as well. When I go to more options, it brings me to this page and just kind of gives me a bigger picture of what it was in that smaller window. And this right here, of course, is the way that I can notify others, notify myself. If I want to be notified 10 minutes ahead of time, more minutes, I can change it to hours, I can change it to a week ahead. I like to give myself that 10-minute notice so that it pops up on my screen or my phone, because I have my phone also synced with it so that I do not forget. And right here under busy and free, you can change these, but by default it's on busy. If you do not want
You need to tell her because
if you do not want everybody to see the notes or what the what your description of your event is about, you can set it to private. Not really sure why you'd really want to hide that, maybe for student privacy, things like that, but there's a little bit more description on why you might change the privacy settings for an event. And that is how we create an event in the calendar. Let's go back. We're going to discard these. I don't want to save that one. Another one is creating a reminder. So if I create a reminder, it's just going to put it on the 24th since we're today, and we'll put it at 2 p.m. So it has this little, a little different icon right here, the little finger, to remind me to close the door. And I save that, and that's going to pop up later at 2 o'clock and tomorrow to close the door. So that's how that one works. There's nothing else to that one. It's very plain and simple. You can't really add any collaborators. That's just for yourself. So I can delete that or mark as done when that's over. For a task, it's the same. You can say, I don't know, clean the computer. And you can add a description on this one, and you can also add it to my tasks. My tasks are right here on your sidebar, and you can go ahead and save that. And you can see if I open this up, it's going to load all my tasks that I have on my sidebar here. And the last one, like I said, is appointment slots. So appointment slots, these I'll put the appointment. I like to go to more options because right here is where I can do a single slot, which is what I have in my appointment here on my calendar. I'm going to open up another calendar so that you can see. So these are all single slots, but I can, where am I? Okay. I can also do slots with a duration, and let's see if I can do, so you can see what that looks like. We'll go maybe to 6 o'clock. And you can have this repeat every week on Thursday, daily. I'm going to put not repeat, but you can have this so you don't have to do this every single time. So if you have this go throughout each week, you have that option right in here. And you can add your location if you want to. There's your link to your appointment page. And I'm going to go ahead and save so you can see what that looks like. So this is the appointment slot for this one. So it's going to look a little different. It's going to have a different link. I'm going to go to this appointment. So you can see this one is set up in 30 minutes back to back, all right here. Whereas this one is set up 45 minutes because I do travel to the schools sometimes. I gave myself 15 minutes in between each one in case I have to go from school to school. But if you're stationary and you just want to be able to meet one student right after another, you can set it up this way instead and have them back to back. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. And the neat thing about Calendar is you can have it customize it to where it works for you. So the layout and how it looks, you want to focus on 3 days at a time. You can focus on 3 days at a time just by going over here. You can customize it in here. You can go to 4 days. Get rid of the weekends if you want. You can look at it from a month's point of view. You can go all the way to a year. Of course, that's going to look like this. It's not really going to show you details. And you can even do it by day. So it's up to you on how you want to view your calendar. I like to look at the whole week. You have some more settings in here, and we'll look at those. Of course, your language, your time zone. This is the world clock. That's up to you if you want to have that displayed. You can just checkbox that. So you have all these options here. Like I said, you can show weekends. You can take this off where it doesn't show the weekends. This right here, show declined events. So like this one right here, this is a declined event. So this is going to show up in white. I can just take that off and it wouldn't show anything at all. It would just show that, whoops, where am I? Where's my details? Okay. I'm gonna get rid of some of these here because I'm getting mixed up. All right, so you can show the week numbers. You can show all of these options here too. This one is one that I like, and it reduces the brightness of the past events. That's where, oops, it shows this a little bit lighter than where I'm at right here. So I know that this is already done and gone. And you can start your date day of the week on a Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, depending on where you're from, I guess. And you have a few other options here to look at events from your Gmail to your calendar. I like to go ahead and leave that on. Some of these are already preset, so you don't have to mess with them, but you can uncheck them if you don't want that. And I had to go in here and change my working hours. Your working hours are probably going to be different. I work from 8 to 4:30, so I went ahead and changed those. And that's it for those. Of course, your shortcuts, there's not a whole lot of shortcuts in Google that I use, but I mean, if you're a shortcut person, here they are. There's some of them there, so you can check those out if you have time to look at those and learn them. I really don't use a whole lot of the shortcuts in Calendar. All right, so that's your settings. And I go down here. If I want to add other people, I can search their calendar by going to here, and I can subscribe to their calendar. I can create a new calendar. I can add it by URL, or I could just import someone else's calendar. So if I went to subscribe to a calendar, like if I want Mr. Morgan's on here, I would go ahead and do that and subscribe to his that way. So now it's on here, but if I don't want to see his, all I have to do is uncheck it and remove it from here if I don't want him on there anymore. And I know you probably get a lot from your Google Classrooms, so those are also on here. If you don't want all those, if you don't want to see them, you can uncheck them. You don't have to get rid of them completely, but if you just want to minimize some of the notifications that you're seeing all the time, just for a little bit so you can focus on what you need to focus on, you can uncheck it temporarily so that you can just see what you want to see and then put it back on when you're ready to see those things. And that is the gist of Google Calendar. I'm going to go back to our meet to see if you have any questions. So far, I'm going to scroll back up because there's a lot. All right. Did you all get the link? I put it in there earlier, and I'm not sure if you all got it. I can send it again. For those of you that, if you came in late, it probably won't show up in the chat, but there it is again. All right. Any questions on Google Calendar so far?
I have a question. It's not on Google Calendar, but it's about having a question. Okay. So I know it's kind of dumb, but you know, my students said there's a way of going control something and unmuting instead of unmuting by unmuting the microphone. Do you know what that is? Because I forgot, they told me yesterday, but it's control something and it unmutes, and then control, you do it again and it mutes.
Oh, the shortcut.
Yeah, what's the shortcut?
I don't remember the shortcut. But yes, there is a shortcut to unmute. I just don't
Okay.
remember what the buttons are.
All right. I know that's off the subject, but I thought, well, I'm going to ask because that's kind of cool. And some kids like to do that.
Control D. Try that.
For some reason, I was thinking you just hold the space bar down and it temporarily unmutes you while you talk.
Try Control D. Did that work?
Control D works,
Okay.
and so does the space bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, little tricks here and there. I have so many shortcuts stuck in my brain that I'm like, I don't know.
That space bar is awesome that works, but I don't know if that always works. Does that always work? Whoever had that idea?
As far as I know, it does.
All right, thank you, Robert. All
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
right, so back in calendar, if you go to, I'm gonna go, I'll check on this one. So if you go on the side here and you see these three little dots, you can go to the settings and sharings within that calendar. And a lot of you work collaboratively with other teachers. You can scroll down and you can share it with specific people. That way, those people you share it with, you can change the settings so that they can make and manage the calendar as well. So if you want them to be able to make changes to the calendar, add events, change events, things like that, to a specific calendar that you both want to be able to use, you can do that here. If you just want them to be able to see the events, you can have it right here too. And then of course there's one that's a little bit different where they can just make changes to events. That's going to be this one here. There's some other things that you can change in the settings to each specific calendar. If you unsubscribe yourself to the calendar, you'll no longer have access to it anymore. And on this one, let's see, if you do have a website, you can embed your calendar if you want it available. I used to have a website and I used to keep it available on there, but I did take it off recently. But if you want to have that calendar available on your website, if you have one you've made for your students so that your students can see what assignments are due, things like that, you just grab this code and you put it in your website. If you're not sure how to do a website, make an appointment with me and we can go over that. Or if it's a big need, I can do another live session on creating and making a website. All right, so that is how you get to your settings for a specific calendar. And that is just about everything there is in calendar. And we'll go on to Gmail. So for the most part, I think most people know how to send and receive their email. So of course, composing an email is right here. There are some specifics, I guess. This little paperclip is attaching files, and this would be from your computer. This one right here is inserting a link from, and it could be a website or a URL from the internet, things like that. If you're attaching something from your Google Drive, you're going to click on this little icon right here. This is just putting an emoji in there. Many of you might have your Bitmoji attached to it. If not, you have that option to insert a Bitmoji, and all you have to do is click it and then click the one that you want, and you can add that to it. We do have Dropbox added to So you can add files from Dropbox. We rarely use this signature tool right here, but inserting images and photos is this icon, and this button is to turn confidentiality on and off. So more settings over here, more options. You can create a label, and let's say you know this one's going to be labeled as your to-do. You can check mark that. You can make sure your spelling is all good, which sometimes it doesn't always check it. I sent an email about the Padcasters the other day, but Padcaster is not recognized as a real word because it's a brand name, and so it didn't. They were all misspelled anyways, so it didn't catch that one, and I didn't catch it either. So I misspelled Padcaster, but there is a spell check in here, and you can also do request read receipt. That one's pretty handy. If you're sending something pretty important, you can check mark this one so that whoever you send it to, you will get the notification if they read it, and if they opened it anyways. You just can't really make sure if they actually read the whole thing, but you will get a notification if they opened your email. You have these options down here to change the font. There's only a few different fonts available. You can make your font small, normal, large, and huge, bold, italics, change the colors, how you send it, the alignment, and of course your bullets and left and right indentations. Some of the things you would see like in a Google Doc, but not too many. Inserting a signature. Mine has a big giant signature, so let's go head over there to see how to do that. You go to settings, and you go to all settings, and you scroll down until you see signature. So right in here is where you create your signature, and if you want to add any pictures or anything, you're going to use the insert image, and you get it from pulls it from your Google Drive. So whatever you have saved in your Google Drive, you can pull it up from there and insert it, and then resize it once you're in here. So that's where your signature is at, and there's a whole lot of options in your settings. So while I'm in here, I'll go ahead and go over these things. Of course, our language is set to English. If you speak a different language, you can definitely change that if you want to. Phone numbers, and ours shows 20. You can change that to 10 if you want to. So there's that option. I have the undo send at the max of 30 seconds. Sometimes you send a message and you remembered you needed to add something else to that email, and you have a few seconds to change that, and it'll show up at the bottom, and it'll have that undo button for minus 30 seconds. You can go here and change it. I think it's defaulted to maybe less, but I came in here and I changed it to the max, which is 30. So in case I change my mind and I don't want to send that email after all, I can undo send. That's what that one's for. And default reply behavior, I would not click either one of these. Replying to all whenever you just need to reply to one, it kind of bogs down all the emails, and maybe some information gets sent to everyone whenever you just needed to send it to that one person. So don't click those. Yeah. There's some hover actions. I have it clicked on, but that's It's up to you. Those are going to be whenever you're scrolling through your email, and you can hover over to the side to see if you can archive it and delete it, things like that, snooze it from the email itself. My send and archive is hidden. You can click it to where it's shown. That's the preference on you. So then this is the default text style, images. Again, this is up to you on if you want to change this, and a few other things like this. I like to have grammar suggestions on, spelling suggestions on, autocorrect on, and I like Smart Compose. Maybe some people feel like it's a little invasive, like how does it know what I want to write? But I think it makes making emails a lot quicker and more productive, maybe even more efficient, because I can get through an email quicker. So I like to have my writing suggestions on. It starts to recognize my particular writing style because of the artificial intelligence it has in it. So I like to leave that on, but if you feel uncomfortable with that, you can always turn that off here in your settings. Again, this is another one, Smart Compose, and you can turn that off or on. And conversation view, I have mine on, things like that. So more smart reply. These are suggestions whenever, I don't know if you noticed, I see it more on my phone, but sometimes you see it on your emails. Will pop up like suggested, like thank you, that's great, things like that. And that way you don't have to type it out. You can just click it and send it real quick, and that way you don't have to spend time creating another email just to say thank you, and you just click it and send it real quick. So that's what the smart reply is. If you don't like that, you can come in here and turn it off. So this I have off, but I check my email pretty often. I also have my notifications on my phone, so I get it one way or the other. And let's see, the stars, I have all of them in use, but you can toggle these off, and you can say just one for all of them. Oops, all the stars, things like that. And keyboard shortcuts are off. I can turn my keyboard shortcuts on. And I think that's the only thing I'll change. Keep trying to go this way. And I'm back to this. My Google profile, that's the standard one I have in everywhere. I could change that if I wanted to. I could change it through here, but it's going to take me to my main Google account page so that I can change that. And we already went over signature, so I'm just skipping over that. You have all these other, some things that I'm not even sure about, personal level indicators. That's, yeah, I mean, you could turn those on. I have no indicators on. Snippets. And so if you leave, if you go on vacation, I was out of the office during the summertime, so I had this message sent out every time someone would email me. This is the message they would receive, and that's it for that part. That's just in the general. So I go back in. You can see, you can go over labels. This is, there's a whole bunch in labels and how to, whether you want to show it or hide it. And then chats, sent, schedules, drafts. It's up to you whether you want them shown or hidden, the categories, things like that. All my labels here. you can see that they're on the side here, so they are shown. They're not hiding. My inbox, I have my inbox in sections, and that's how you can kind of customize it to make it fit for how you like to receive your mail, how you like to organize things. I have 4 sections here. I have my important and unread, my starred emails. So if it's something I know that's important, I've already read it, but I want to come back to it, I put it in my starred box. My important things that I've read, but I'm not ready to get rid of, and my everything else. It just kind of ends up, if it's not really important, it's not starred, it's going to end up right here. And I have some more options to customize those, and you can get into more details here. You can show the markers, you can put no markers on here, and then we can go into accounts. I just have my regular account. I'm not going to add another email address on here. I don't want to sync my personal email to this one. So I'm going to leave this alone. Filters and blocked addresses. So I do have one filter in here that I have everything from like my G Suite alerts. I put that I want them, but I don't want to delete them. So I have them going into a special filter right here. And I can take a look at those later. So this is where you go to create a new filter. So you come in here and let's say I want everything from, I don't know, from Stephen Morgan to go into somewhere. So I would click him and then I would go ahead and create that filter right here, which I'm not going to. So I can forward my pop mail, my IMAP mail, and that's another option I have for putting all the extra mail into another folder so it doesn't bog down my inbox. My add-ons, we have these add-ons, they're managed by our district. We have Chat and Meet, and this is new right here. This is over here on the side. Hangouts is soon going to be deleted by Google, and we will only have Meet. And this other part right here is a little bit more advanced features, and we have, you can enable these or you can disable these, and that's again up to you if you want to have these on or off.
Oh, I have a comment real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm looking on add-ons, and we don't actually have the same add-ons as you do. We don't have I only have Dropbox, To-Do List, and Zoom for G Suite, and that's all.
Oh, not sure. Yes. I'm not even sure what this one is. To be honest, I have no idea what TickTick is. I've never used that one. There's To Do. Well, let's open it up and find out. Stay organized, stay creative, get started. So you can see I've never used it. I mean, it's here. I don't know. I'm not even sure how or when it was added.
Okay. No problem. That other one was probably not that interesting or relevant anyway.
It looks a lot like maybe Google Keep or Tasks. So I'm probably not going to be using it, and I'm not sure who put it on there because I'm not in charge of like the IT part stuff, like putting these on. I don't know. So we talked about advanced, offline, and then themes. So, excuse me, you have options to change your background. You can add your own pictures, or you can pick out one of these very pretty pictures that they have. This is one of my photos that I took up on Sea Hill. So that's where this little background comes from. But you can do that by going to My Photos. And let's see. So many of you probably have seen this. So if you see My Meetings, you can see I have a meeting later today. If I go to that, and here's my inbox. Like I said earlier, I have 4 different sections. So I have my important, my starred, my important, and then my everything else. If I click, I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these. Some of those options were like being able to hover over these. So if I come over here, I can snooze this until later today, and it'll come back. It'll disappear, but it'll come back until I'm ready to view that email. And then I'm going to go ahead and undo that one. So if you've never used the snooze button, it's pretty nice because sometimes you just can't get to an email, but you really need to. You really need to see it. So like this one, I have this meeting Friday. I'm going to snooze it until, let's see, Friday is the 25th. So let's put the 25th at 8 a.m. And I'm going to go ahead and snooze that one. So it'll pop up 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday and remind me that I have that email. All right, any questions? I'm going to go back to our meet and check here. Yes, yeah, so the default was 5 seconds. It's very nice to have that undo send button to the longest you can, because it sometimes takes your brain just a little bit longer than 5 seconds to say, oh, shoot, I needed to tell so-and-so this too. So yeah, too bad it's not just maybe 35 seconds. Any other questions on setting this up? I know there's a lot of you who liked the setup in Microsoft Office. No, what was it called? Outlook. You can toggle this right here, and it'll kind of look like what it did in. And if I move that over, yeah, it kind of looks like the Outlook, to where it had the little preview here, and then you can open it up here. I personally don't like that look, and I actually like all this. So it's up to you on how you want it set up. There's really nothing else in Gmail that there's where you're labeled stuff. If you have something in here that you want to send over to your labeled, all you have to do is grab it and put it over there. And I don't want to put that over there, but that's what you would do. Just drag it and put it over there. We got about 17 minutes for questions about Google Calendar or Gmail. So if you want, you can just speak up. If you have any questions about maybe like where your trash goes, your trashed emails, they're actually way down here. So if you scroll down, there's trash, there's, ooh, that's a lot of spam. your spam, managing your labels, creating new labels. It's also down here besides in your settings up here. Nothing else? Then you guys get out just a little, actually quite a bit early, huh? So all right, everybody, thank you for joining in. And
Thank you.
you're welcome. Hope to see y'all again soon.
I mind. Do you know if sign in showing up?
Oh, I'm sorry, what was your question?
Do you know? Dan, it did show.
Yeah, you were cutting out.
They're wanting the sign-in sheet again, Anita.
Oh, the sign-in sheet. There you go. So it's in the chat. If you click on the little icon that looks like a little thought bubble, it's in there.
I can't find it.
So I'm still sharing my screen. It's this one right here. And you click it and then click.
Right here.
Who's asking?
It's Terry Carrasco.
Terry, I can email it to you as well.
Okay, I'm
Does
sorry.
that work? No, it's okay.
Because I had signed in, but I don't know what's going on.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording because I don't think there are any more questions.